On this day in 2019, the Alliance of American Football kicked off its inaugural season in what was to be a developmental league for fringe NFL talents to continue their football careers. The AAF was founded by filmmaker and TV producer Charlie Ebersol, son of Dick Ebersol, an executive at NBC and former business partner of Vincent Kennedy Mcmahon. Some 19 years earlier, Dick and Vince brought us the XFL. And in 2017, Charlie Ebersol directed an ESPN 30 for 30 film. This was the XFL. Drawing inspiration from the many mistakes his father and Vince McMahon made, the AAF wanted to create a league that was complementary to the NFL, fostering a relationship between NFL players and management. The ultimate goal was to be a developmental league for players, coaches, and officials, along with an experimental testing ground for potential rule changes that the NFL could possibly adopt. Charlie also chose to settle for smaller markets. Teams in Orlando, Salt Lake, and Birmingham fit the AAF. The AAF found former NFL talents and even brought in the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, to ensure that the play on the field was better than its predecessor. The AAF had a ton of involvement from former NFL players, coaches, executives, and much, much more. Former head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Mike Singletary, was head coach of the Memphis Express. Dennis Erickson coached the Salt Lake Stallions, and there was even a Christian Hackenberg sighting. It wasn't actually a sighting. He stuck up the joint big time. Other notable names involved with the league were Troy Polamalu, Justin Tuck, and Mike Martins. In week 1, the Alliance came out the gates firing. This hit by Sean Washington on Mike Bercovici sent social media into a frenzy. Hits on quarterbacks like this haven't been seen in years without flags, fines, or some type of suspension. If that was a hit on Tom Brady, Sean Washington would have been sent directly to Guantanamo Bay. But in the AAF, he put the league on the map in its opening weekend. That weekend, the games between the San Antonio Commanders and the San Diego Fleet, and the game between the Orlando Apollos and Atlanta Legends drew 2.9 million viewers, beating the primetime broadcast of the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. With more games broadcasting on Sunday, the league claimed over 6 million people watched the Alliance in its inaugural weekend. It was a big victory for Charlie Ebersol in the AAF, but this is where the problems have begun. Reports from The Atlantic stated that prior to the second week of the league's existence, they had problems making payroll. Charlie Ebersol and the league refuted these claims heavily, but on February 19th, Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon pumped $250 million into the league, becoming the new chairman of the AAF. Now, on the field, the level of play had been steady. Players like Trent Richardson, who will arguably go down as one of the greatest players in AAF history, were making names for themselves. The Orlando Apollos were night and day the best team in the league. With Steve Spurrier at the helm and a 7-1 record, they looked to waltz into the championship game. It was shaping up to be a great inaugural season, truly. They even got the services of former Heisman Trophy winner and former Browns quarterback Johnny Manziel. And he didn't have a great AAF run. This league was exciting at times, and the play felt like a really good NFL preseason game. Oxymoron, I know, but it still worked, being it was a spring league. It even caught the attention of Detroit's own Eminem. Now, for those of you guys who might be too young to know who Eminem is, it's the guy that Chris D'Elia makes fun of in his car. Eminem tweeted about allowing players to fight, and somehow it fueled rumors of an expansion to the Detroit market. Charlie Ebersol even told the Detroit Free Press that, quote, he had really high-level initial conversations with a couple of different people who reached out after Eminem's tweet, including some people from his team. We are having conversations about whether or not we are going to expand next year, and it's really Tom Dundon's decision. Immediately after this quote from the Free Press, Tom Dundon revealed that the league was on the verge of folding. There seemed to be a dispute between the NFLPA and the AAF. Dundon was under the pretense that the NFL would allow its younger players who needed development to play in the AAF so they can be developed. Simple enough, right? No, not at all. The NFLPA didn't want to risk their players being uninsured and injured in the AAF, therefore not being able to honor their NFL contracts. You see, the NFL has its own league for developing talent. It's called the NCAA. The NCAA and NFL work in tandem to produce NFL caliber talent year in and year out upon graduation. Younger players who need more game action, like quarterbacks, would benefit greatly from a league like the AAF. But the NFL's involvement would cost them money, so why bother? Dundon didn't believe the AAF could succeed without the help of the NFLPA and these young players. He was quoted saying, "If the players union is not going to give us young players, we can't be a development league. We are looking at our options, one of which is discontinuing the league." Rumors suggested that Tom Dundon had ulterior motives by investing in the AAF. The AAF hired a Tesla engineer to develop technology that would be revolutionary in the world of sports gambling. Now, there were sensors embedded on players' jerseys that updated in real time. On the AAF app, you could check where players were on the field, in-game stats, and even predict play outcomes. Now just think about the in-game betting and the prospect of the billions and billions of dollars this technology could do in the NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, or any other league that buys in. The writing was also on the wall when the league decided to move its championship game from Vegas to Texas, claiming Jerry Jones and his close relationship with the league as the primary reason. But we didn't even get that far. On April 2nd, 2019, Tom Dundon and the AAF suspended operations. The revolutionary league with sports betting tech that billionaire Tom Dundon swooped in and usurped right from under Charlie Ebersol's nose folded. At the time of the announcement, Bill Polian released this statement about Dundon. "I am extremely disappointed to learn Tom Dundon has decided to suspend all football operations of the Alliance of American Football. When Mr. Dundon took over, it was the belief of my co-founder Charlie Ebersol and myself that we would finish the season, pay our creditors, and make the necessary adjustments to move forward in a manner that made economic sense for all. The momentum generated by our players, coaches, and football staff had us well positioned for future success. Regrettably, we will not have that opportunity." Players were booted from their homes and hotels as they found out about the league suspending operations on Twitter. They were required to pay their own way home, and they had their dream unfairly snatched right from under them. Now, there are some positives from this fallout. 21 AAF players made NFL rosters this past season, and Garrett Gilbert even made a start this season for the Dallas Cowboys, almost pulling out a victory against the Steelers. The league maintained respectable TV ratings throughout its first season. It brought about proposed rule changes at NFL owners' meetings. It gave us a quarterback hit NFL teams would shudder at. The app and its betting technology was innovative, and you'll probably see it somewhere down the line. In its 8 weeks of existence, the AAF provided fans an opportunity to watch a sport that they truly loved in a unique way. It served its purpose for the greater good of football.